It is Ride Your New Bike to Work Day.
So here I'm already spending money on this bike. New seat, new mirrors, and I've owned it, what, a day?
Welcome to MCC Just Motos. Yo guys, it's Andy. Good morning. It is Ride Your New Bike to Work Day. I just picked up a Honda Shadow Sabre 2001 1100cc. Makes about 60 to 67 horse I've seen there, and about 65 torque. I've had Shadows before. They've been really cool. I'm excited to take this one to work. I've never had a Sabre. It's geared a little bit lower. I'm gonna see how it is to commute. If you're new to the channel, I do all things motorcycle, so please like and subscribe for that. But let's go get on the bike and hop on to work.
All right, good morning all. I'm hopping on my Honda Shadow Sabre. I have ridden it, and like I said, I've ridden Shadows before. This one is more of a custom look to it than some of the other Hondas. It has full fenders. Some of the other Shadows, it has full fenders, big fat tires, solid like milled wheels, and it's geared a little lower. Kind of a custom seat and different handlebars. So let's see, I don't know how this one goes. Starts when it's cold, because I've never ridden it when it's cold. Well, didn't even have to use choke. That's pretty cool, right? All right, so we're gonna head on out. This one has about 23.5 miles, 23,500 miles. Yeah, it's a liquid cooled motor, which is pretty cool. And Hondas just have that nice reliability, and well, they might not be the most performance oriented. They do have that start right up and get going, and just you can't really beat it for starting and reliability. So that's one thing I noticed right off the bat. I do got to get some gas. Saw this tank is about empty. There is no gas gauge on this, but there is a reserve switch. So old school reserve switch, no gas gauge. Man, yeah, I can tell right off the bat that this has some oomph right off the bat compared to my other Shadows that I've ridden. So I'm gonna go fill up with gas, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the bike. Just to note, look at that. The gas cap comes off. I'm gonna go fill up with premium fuel. It's empty. Yeah, we'll get some more video after that. All right, got 2.6 gallons of gas, and we'll reset this. Bring them. And let's talk about gas really quick. Since we're here, this bike gets, well, it has about a 4.17 gallon tank. We'll call it 4. It gets about 36 miles a gallon per the charts. Gets you about 145 miles range, roughly. So there you go. I think the bottom gear, the top gearing, is the same as the other Shadows. It's a 5-speed transmission, Ford controls with floorboards, but there is no heel shifter. It's just a normal shifter. There we go. Again, no clutch needed. We got a couple turns out of the way here. A little more curvy on this way. So that first gear is pretty low, and that's okay. I like it. It gets you out of the way quicker. There is no tachometer. I have a windjammer windscreen on this. It came with it. And I don't know if I like it. Right now it's going right into my helmet. I think it's below the microphone, so you guys probably don't have to notice that. But I do. On the top of my head. It's really windy. So I bought this locally from a really cool dude, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, he and I are kind of in the same line of work, so that was really cool. And he bought it locally. He just didn't ride anymore, and is willing to give it a good home. So yeah, I put this in my Ford Maverick pickup truck, and this wheelbase is pretty long. I don't know the wheelbase, but I gotta show you what it looks like in my Maverick. It really, I had to lower the tailgate down, and it barely fit. Oh my gosh, did it barely fit. Needed some help to get it in and out. All right, so now I'm in turns. about as turny as I can get right now. And I've always loved the shadow handling. The shadow handling is one of the best handling metric cruisers. Now, it does have floorboards. I don't know how deep I can get, but obviously not super deep. The agility on this is pretty good. For a bike this size, it's pretty good. I think my other Shadow 1100 is a standard Shadow Spirit, or I don't know what it was. It was a little more agile, could transition side to side. It didn't have as fat tires as this, but this feels really stable, and this has some punch off the bat from that low gearing. The handlebars on this are fantastic, and the seating position's great. So I really dig that. I'm 5'9", 5'9" and a half, and the seating position's great. Your feet don't feel like they're too far forward. They're perfect forward on those floorboards. And the handlebar with this custom handlebar feels really nice. It's suited for me. The reach isn't too long, and a little bit of bend in the elbow. So yeah, really nice. Going over the bumps are pretty good. Hondas are usually pretty good at bump control. Again, this one is more of almost a style exercise with the big fat tires and full fenders. And what does that mean? It means usually it's not, when they go for style, it's not as compliant, but it's still pretty good compliant. Plenty of path and power. I'm at 80. Man, this bike, it is actually pretty comfy at this high speed, right? It's very stable. This bike's top speed, I think, is listed at 105. I think that's probably pretty accurate. I don't think it's electronically limited, but I can definitely keep up with the flow of traffic, and there is no pressure on my chest. There is no fatigue right now. There's just a little bit of noise on the top of my helmet. So Windjammer, I don't know if you're staying or not, but it feels pretty good for high-speed touring, even if I do have a little wind on the top of my head. So commuting wise, it's not really loud. It's a dual crank pin V-twin motor, I believe. Doesn't sound anything like a Harley. It sounds very gentle. My riding partner wife says that it's very, very gentle sounding. Take that for what it is. But just cruising 70 miles an hour, no issues. It was very, very controlled and competent. About what you would expect for a bike this size. Comfort for the feet are probably one of the best I've experienced in a long time. Brakes feel fine, nothing special. Nothing terrible, nothing special, a little bit firmer feel. They are new brakes, so it should be pretty similar to what a stock brake or a brand new brake feel would feel like. Yeah, they're a little bit harder to pull. You do have to put your hand out a little bit more on the brake levers, but that's okay. Go ahead, please. Let's talk about instrumentation for a little bit. You have a speedometer and odometer. I like the classic look. You can see there's a oil pressure and a temperature gauge here. Underneath the triple clamps, you have a neutral light, a high beam, low beam, there you go, whoop, and a turn signal indicator. That's it there. You have your choke, your high beam, low beam here, turn signals and horn, standard for most any motorcycle, except for some earlier Harleys. And then on the right hand side you have your starter and your on-off front switch. That's it. Pretty standard, right? Nothing special. But maybe that's kind of the charm. You don't really have to worry so much about, you know, anything special or ordinary or unique. I just got done riding one of the most technologically advanced motorcycles I've ever been on. It was a Kawasaki Ninja 7 Hybrid. Why I'm talking about it is because that bike was so complicated. The learning curve was huge on it. It took me hours even to like kind of get comfortable to figure out all the modes, rides, switches, and everything. That thing was just so complicated. And while that may be good for some folks, it just is a huge learning curve and can take away the joy from riding, where you get on a bike like this and you just go. How nice is that, right? I really appreciate that. There's a charm to that. I know this bike is 553 pounds, or probably about 560 pounds, and it feels about that. Again, I've been on other Shadows that are a little bit more agile, but this Sabre is not. I honestly think I like the looks of the Sabre better than most other Shadows. It's really, it kind of, those scallop looking black and gray scallops. I really dig it. I think it's cool for a metric cruiser. So it doesn't want to turn in at high speed as much as, again, some other bikes because of those fat tires. And I will put the tire side on the screen. I don't know them offhand, to be honest with you. I really don't. But they are fat. And I know the tire pressure, 38 to 39 in the front and 42 in the rear as a solo rider. It's almost a little high strung, to be fair. I think it's because it's only a 5-speed. It's a little high strung, meaning that the RPM's a little higher than I would want, but it is not a loud motor. Oh, let me talk about throttle control. It feels very linear, a little bit longer roll-on pulls, but it's very progressive. There's no fueling issues. There's no hitch in the giddy up. There's no lagging of any of the throttle and fueling in this bike. And I'm downshifting. I'm going to go around these guys. Let's see if I can. Yep. Yeah, so I'm using the horsepower to pass, not the torque. The torque's good off the bat, but I think, you know, compared to a modern bike, it's a little thin in the mid-range at speed. So you'll, like right now, if I'm in 5th gear and I pull the throttle, it's not accelerating very fast. But if I use that horsepower, that 60 to 68 horsepower, it will definitely pass. I'm going to talk about passenger accommodations on this bike. This is a stock seat. It's okay comfy. It's not terrible. Do I get a little bit of pressure? Tiniest a tiny bit in the tailbone. It doesn't really have a good shape for a passenger, to be honest with you. It does have floorboards for a passenger, but not a good shape. It is not thick. And there is no sissy bar or backrest on the passenger. And I'll say my riding partner did not like the seat in the slightest. Not only because there was no sissy bar backrest, she said it hurt sitting on it. Immediately after like 5 minutes, she's like, nope, this isn't good. And you have to bend your feet pretty high up. The knee bend's pretty high for the footrest on the passenger seat. So it was not a super comfy, but I'm sure it would work for a a shorter distance. This is more of just a solo, occasional tube riding bike. Yeah, the seat is, I'd say, commuter length comfy, but not really touring length comfy. I can tell right now it is warm on some spots. Not exactly hot spots just yet, but it's a little bit warm. And I think after riding for a longer period, it might cause a little pressure. It's not moving me around in the seat. I don't feel uncomfy in it. It's not pushing me against the tank or pushing me back. And it's actually the little bit of support you have on the tailbone that curves up to the back is in the exact right spot for me. There are no vibes that tiniest of tiniest vibes in the handlebar. I'm about 26 miles in, and I think that might be the comfort limit for the rear seat for me, at least. Like I said, it's not super uncomfy, but I can feel pressure. The best way I can describe it is it's not a wide seating base. Even though the seat's okay, normally wide, it puts the pressure really squarely on the tailbone, and that probably will cause a little bit of discomfort, anything more than 25, 30, 40 miles, I'm gonna guess. Is it worth upgrading the seat? If I'm keeping this bike for a long time, I would upgrade the seat. And I'd probably get a backrest too, at least a detachable one. So here I'm already spending money on this bike. New seat, new mirrors, and I've owned it, what, a day? I'm not hearing any loose rattles, shakes. This is a very quality built machine. It needs cleaned up a little bit.
So I'm about to take my ride back home, my commute back home. I want to collect my thoughts. Really not much difference between going home and back, just a little warmer. So what I found on that, I did about a 36-mile commute, my first commute. The seat's a little thin for padding, and it really puts a pressure right there. But there is some good support. Ergonomically, it's really good. It is a really nice fit and finish motorcycle, some decent power, a little lacking on the mid-range, but the horsepower will get you there. The foot placement's great, and the handlebar placement's great. Bump compliance is a little thinner or a little rougher than some of the other Honda Shadows I've been on, but the look and the style's right there. That's gonna do for me. What questions you have, drop the comment below and I'll answer them for you. Please like and subscribe. I'm gonna get one more blast out of this and some twisty back roads, and hopefully I'll get that on film. But thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next episode.
I have a little bit of juice left. We're just gonna record. It's raining, so I can tell you what it's like to ride in the rain, and it's raining. And you're wet, and the windshield doesn't do that much. So I'm just gonna take it slow. You can see I'm just getting super sopping wet. I had 2 people almost try and run into me today running stop lines on the way home. Bike, it does not feel squirrely. I had to slam on my brakes. It is not anti-lock brakes. But yeah, no worries. I'm just gonna take it slow. One thing I didn't mention was the shifter on this. The actual shift feel is very, very good. Didn't even think about it. The clutch is heavy. All right, so now a little back road action.